여러분 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome all of you to the Old Man's Library of JDC. My name is Homina. I'm one of the librarians as well as the host. And I have invited another person to work as a librarian, and that is Alberto Mandi. Happy to meet all of you. Good afternoon, good afternoon. And I'm here to work as a librarian at JDC's Old Man's Library. It's specialized to meet you here in Jeju. And we will be talking about books here today. And we may have different perspectives, but we may also have common perspectives, and we would like to share those perspectives with you. And this session is a special session hosted by Jeju for International City Development Center. We want to talk about a society that is going to be realized by the young people as part of today's discussion. And so what is Old Man's Library? Maybe Alberto could explain this to us. I don't know if you've heard about this or not. There's a saying in Africa that says that an elderly person is a library. Because elderly people, they have lived long, they have wisdom, and they have a knowledge. And and what they have is just as valuable as the knowledge and the experiences that is contained in the books of libraries. And so we have invited the family members of those that have been sacrificed during the Jeju April 3rd incident, and we're going to be talking with them about peace and their stories. And we are going to be listening to stories from one of the ladies that has survived the incident. So we're going to be listening to their stories, what they had to go through, and what their realities are like. So we'll be discussing what the possible solutions are, and we'll also, of course, try to provide consolation. And I would like to thank everyone who has joined us here in person. And we also understand that a lot of people have joined us via YouTube. And so JDC's YouTube channel is currently broadcasting on this session. And so I would like to ask you to visit the YouTube channel and also give us some comments. We would very much welcome your comments. So ladies and gentlemen, now let us open the Old Man's Library of JDC. So in this library, what is the book you want to read the most? I have actually picked the books out. And it's a book that is related to the theme that we are dealing with. This is in English. As you can see, I'm a foreign person. And this is Jeju, April 3rd incident through a women's eyes. Well, the transcript is, of course, it's originally Korean, but this has been translated into English. If you would look at the cover page, it looks like this. This is the cover page, quite intriguing. So what is this book about? This JDC and the research center have written this book and translated this book together. It's stories about women that have gone through the incident and the women who survived the incident. It's in English. And so as Koreans, we have not really been able to talk about this. And so they're not that. So I don't think we can say that everyone understands what April 3rd incident is about. And I think this is very important that we have English that can explain what Jeju April 3rd is to global citizens. I understand that this book has already been donated to different libraries and the research centers of different countries. And through the books, there's a hope that there's going to be enhanced understanding about the Korean history, also enhanced exchanges between in Korea and other countries. And these are stories about people, and I believe stories of people can truly be inspiring. A person's story, as Alberto just said, can be inspiring, and I think that really reverberates with all of us here in this room. And so we will be listening to very, very touching stories today. So let's read the story together.
저가 태어난 거는 부자면 손다. 저가 이제 나이가 4살, 4살인데 이제 어느 날 아버지는 누군가가 와서 데리고 갔어. 하루는 이제 통지가 오기를 이제 아버지가 이제 목포 해무소로 가니까 맨내를 갈 수 있으면은 가보세요. 그렇게 거기서 이제 얘기를 하니까 할머니는 저를 업고 부두에 목포배 있는데 저를 업고 갔어. 가보니까 아버지는 벌써 목포배에 타 있는 거라. 배에서 이렇게 손을 붙잡았는데 시간이 너무나도 빨리 간 거라. 말이 다 못했어. 말문이 막혀서. 이건 기가 막힌 일이라. 손을 놓으니까 저만큼 배를 떠나. 아버지가 절에 가는구나. 아버지 모습이 떠오르기는 떠올라. 목포는 이제 여행으로 한번 가서 목포 해무소에 가서 봤지. 보니까 나가 눈물이 나고 가슴이 너무 아프고 조그마한 요런 데서 춥고 배고프고 가족 그립고 이 속에서 얼마나 힘들다가 돌아가시는 거니까 거기 가니까 눈물이 나고 목이 막혀서 말을 못해서 그 현장을 가보니까 이것이 우리가 이제 나쁜 사람으로 쳤잖아. 나쁜 사람은 쳤는데 아무 죄 없이 나쁜 사람은 쳐서 이제 너무 억울했죠. 아이고 너무 힘들어서 손이 다 붕물어 터져도 일은 해야 사는 거다. 놀면 안 되는 거다. 이 마음 먹으니까 일 어디 갔다 돈 벌래 갔다 와서 일이 해가 혼발만 나오면은 또 산에 가서 또 나무로 헌짐 지고 와. 그런데 시대가 그렇게 되니 누구를 원망할 거라. 모든 분들이 많이 도와준 분들도 많이 있어가지고 그래서 나가 사라진 것 같아. 저는 44년생 허순자입니다.
네.
That was quite a touching story. And so that was Ha Sunja. So she was the storyteller in the video that you've just seen. Let's invite her to join us here. So if you could be seated. Can you introduce yourself? I think it's okay for you to take off your mask, and there's a microphone in front of you. I think you are accompanied by your granddaughter here. So can you introduce yourself? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Ha Sunja. My name is Sunja, born in 1944. I am one of the survivors of the Jeju April 3rd incident. So, and if she uses a Jeju dialect, well, we will not be able to understand her. So to better to help us with communication, we have a granddaughter with us. She's younger. She's a young generation, so she must have heard a lot of stories from her grandma, and so she must know more about Jeju April 3rd than most people. So we met you through the video. You have this very, very painful history, but you look beautiful given your age. I talked to her before I came up to the stage. You have a beautiful smile, and the impression I mean, your story of the past, and really were quite, just listening to it, we found it painful. I know that it's not easy for you to come up here and to talk about this issue, and I really want to thank you for working up the courage to talk about the past painful memory. We just saw a video of you giving a testimony. So you were born back in 1944. So you were 4 years old. So how old is your son? My youngest is 3 years old. So that's really young. It was really to hear that that people had to go through such a painful experiences at such young age. I just find that so painful. And you said that you were 4 years old at the time of the incident, and we know. So what do you remember? You were just 4. I mean, how vivid is your memory? I mean, I think you must remember quite a lot of things because it was such a shocking memory. Well, I lost my whole family overnight. I had to live, a day at a time, a night at a time. It was so difficult. And I knew I had to go on. I had to live. So I found whatever work was available. And so I worked at different jobs. And as I got older, I felt that I needed to learn. And I wanted to study, but I couldn't because I just didn't have time. Then there was this neighbor. And that neighbor taught me Korean. That is the Korean characters. And my neighbor, a person younger than me, was an excellent teacher. She taught me, how Hangul, that's Korean character, works. And she also taught me, how to pronounce and how words are written. So that's when I knew how to express alphabetically what I could say in verbally. And so that's when I learned the languages, the written language, that is. It seems that you learned, you remember a lot of things. So it's 70 years ago when Jeju, April 3rd happened, because this was a horrendous incident. So I guess that's what you remember. Do you remember exactly do you remember what happened? So it's been 70 years since the incident, but you have not really talked to anybody about this. Why have you not talked about this? And how vividly do you remember, and why have you not been able to talk to anybody? Well, at that time, people had really, really bad perception of what Jeju April 3rd is. And my grandma told me that a lot of people were critical of the people who were involved in Jeju April 3rd. So, I was on, because my parents were gone. I lived with my grandma, and my grandma told me this. And so she and I lived together, and then we worked without, got by day without talking about this. So you must have a lot of, it seems that you did a lot of physical work, really back-breaking work. And the ports, the piers, they were really small. And so in order to expand on the piers, we bring rocks from the mountain, that is, smaller rocks. And so we would transport the rocks from the mountains to the pier so the pier could be expanded. And so when there was no water, so when the tide was out, then we were able to build on the pier. And so I would carry large rocks on my back, and smaller rocks I would carry in my hands, so that we can expand on the pier. So that took quite a lot of time. But I knew that this was something I had to do. I would get up 4 in the morning, and with my grandma, so we would work on the pier. And so we worked hard. That is why we were able to survive. So this person who helped taught you how to write Korean, were there anybody who helped you? Oh, there were so many people who helped me out. There were people who told me good stories, encouraging words, those who helped me. So thinking about them, I just wish I could, meet them once again. And if I could see them again, I would really thank them again. So you were taught your written Korean by a neighbor. So who else taught you? And I asked people to borrow books from me so I can read the books. And so people would get books for me to read, and I was able to read those books, and I was really touched. So I had this when I write Korean, I had difficulty, thinking about the whole grammatical things that I had to remember, and but reading the books, I was able to understand the grammar better. So when you had to, when at an age, when you had to be looked after, you had to witness this a terrible incident, and you had to work in order to survive. But at the same time, you wanted to learn new things. You wanted to learn languages, the words. So I wonder what motivated you to hold on, to make, to get by day. So what was it that inspired you, that motivated you to live? Well, the people in my village, and they really helped me. Some would collect money and give the money to me. And some would lend me money. So the people in my village were not wealthy. They were not well off, but they would still lend me money so that I could buy a piece of land to do a bit of farming and live by. So I guess the villagers, because they knew how hard you were working, they would collect money for you and would also lend money to you so that you could survive. You have your granddaughter next to you. And despite all the difficulties that you had to go through at an early age, you, I think, had beautiful family. You have children, and now you have grandchildren. I think your life is well lived one, and your family must have helped you greatly.
About family, yes. But working hard, I managed to get through, and I got married when I got 19 years old, and I had my kids, and this made me think that I have to work hard and live hard to make sure that I can live with my family. I tell my family member that you also have to study hard and work hard to live on. I just tell them so. You cannot just assume that your grain will grow after finish planting seeds. It requires care after planting seeds, right? You cannot just give up and abandon them after planting the seeds. When you plant the seeds, you have to take a good care of them. Only then you can get the yields. The same applies to my family. I took a good care of my family, and I always told my family members that you always have to work hard and study hard so that you can lead a good life. And my family members, my kids basically, are living a diligent life. And they now say that, oh, I didn't know that you had lived such a hard life. And my granddaughter told me that now I have grown and I can help you. Yes, it is indeed true that the old man's a library, because I think she's telling us some of the best parenting tips you can ever get. I think parents are the biggest motivation that kids can ever have. Yes, I myself am a father. But just like planting seeds, you have to nurture them and grow them. Yes, you have to take care of them every day and pay attention and support to the seeds. Here, can the granddaughter here chip in? I think I'm a foreigner. I might not be able to say this, but I don't think I have to worry about her dialect. Yes, so rather than a translator, I just want her to chip in by giving us some comments and her own thoughts. So what Ms. Ho mean to the family, and what do you feel about what she had gone through about the April 3rd incident? For me, of course, my grandmother is a survivor of the April 3rd incident, and I have heard stories, so I know what happened to my grandmother. But some of my friends don't know what happened. So through this old man's library, I hope that the stories of my grandmother can be spread better. I know that she's nervous, but I think she's doing a great job. Yes, you must feel so hurting to have her right next to you. I myself am a father, and I always think that I should protect my kids, and I have to do a better job and do a good job raising my kids. But I think Ms. Ho's story makes me think that I have to love my kids even more, and I think this is the story I will remember when I find it difficult to work as a good parent. Yes, I think having this dialogue is an opportune. And after the COVID-19, I think we have a lot of people joining us online as well. So this hybrid session comes with a lot of benefits, basically. So if you're watching online, please do not hesitate and leave your questions in the comment box or the chat box. And please do take part, and I think this will only support our events. And after what you have gone through, Ms. Ha, I think that you strongly wanted to make sure your family never get hurt like that. So in Jeju, you can find a lot of people with this like history of pain or history of sorrow. But despite that, Jeju is growing as an island of peace. And even now, a lot of people are working in diverse fields to protect the value of peace. And now, we are joined by one of them. One of them reached out to us to see Ms. Ha, and we invited her. So shall we bring her to the stage and have some talk together? Welcome. We have a special guest visiting JDC Old Man's Library. Good to see you. and it's Director Ji Eun-hye. Good to see you, Director Ji. Can you introduce yourself, please? Good afternoon. I am a documentary director, and my name is Ji Hye-won. Nice to meet you all. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So, Director Ji, what brought you here? Why did you decide to visit here? Last Monday, I came to Jeju, and up until yesterday, I was filming here, and I decided to come here today because I'm currently making a documentary about women in the Jeju April 3rd April 3rd incident. Trying to make a mock documentary, you come to read a lot of articles and you come to read a lot of books. And through the book, The Jeju April 3rd Incident Through Women's Eyes, I came across Ms. Hu's story, so I wanted to ask her some questions myself. Then what did you want to ask? At such a young age, you did a lot of work. I am interested in the lives of women. And Jeju April 3rd was definitely a devastating memory, but after Jeju April 3rd incident, you have to carry on, right? And I feel that a lot of women had to go through a lot of difficulties even after the Jeju April 3rd incident. And you did a lot of manual work, right? Like picking firewoods and making noodles and carrying some rocks over here to there, and so on and so forth. What was the physically or mentally the most difficult work? Every work is difficult, but then you still have to do. That is why I worked. And that is how I could carry on. I knew that I had to make my best effort and live my life to the fullest. I think this kind of helped me to get through and carry on and live on my life. Listening to what she told us, I was reminded of this. Sometimes we lie down in our bed and you play with our cell phone and think, oh, it's tough. Life is tough. We sometimes just casually think so, right? And through YouTube, I know that a lot of youngsters are watching us online, but sometimes we think that life is tough for nothing. But I think Ms. Hu's story motivates us and we can know what is a tough life actually. To get by, I think you have really worked hard. I think that is really amazing, the spirit of yours. Ms. Hu, I'm recently doing some interviews, visiting so many grandmothers, and I ask, how did you hold yourself together despite all the difficulties you had? And many say that you had to try to soothe your own sorrow because that way you can somehow forget the sorrow. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say, but I didn't think that this would resonate among youngsters. Yes, and also many grandmothers I interview say that you just get by if you just carry on. Then about you, what would be the deepest sorrow that doesn't disappear? I remember seeing other students going to school while I couldn't. I envied students who would go to school, and I think that is the deepest sorrow or painful memory that I cannot erase. I also make a lot of interviews with male senior citizens, and they would recall that in their entire school there would be only one girl student in the entire school. So I think education environment was not that suitable for female students. Yes, the Jeju April 3rd incident didn't discriminate people, but after that, relatively speaking, boys could be a little bit better off. In terms of education opportunity, I think I can say so. And despite that, you, Miss Ho, had to work to get by and to earn money and earn income, and you had to live alone with your grandmother. And can I ask you about your parents? What's your memory about your father? Back then, I was young. My mother actually passed away right after giving birth to me, and my father grew me up and he raised me. When he had some work to do, I used to stay at my uncle's, and after the work is over, my father would come to the uncle's and pick me up. My father would scoop me up and we would go to home together. My father loved me a lot, and I do have some very loving memory of my father. I can assume that my father must have led a very tough life himself, and I also remember the last moment of his. Today, we say that the Jeju April 3rd incident is now gaining new attention, so I wish that I was here with us with my own grandmother and father. And I think the good time has come thanks to all the great efforts made by all the great people, and I hope that the younger generation can carry on, live a good life, live a diligent life, and all these will come back to you as a reward. I hope the younger generation, I know that there are a lot of difficulties, but I hope that they can carry on. Good days will definitely come. Yes, your father and your grandmother, they must have had a lot of sorrows and frustrations. But still, thanks to the diverse efforts made by the organizations, individuals, and groups, which of course include Director G here, I think we are at least giving a small, renewed attention to this Jeju April 3rd incident. I really do hope that this provides a small slice of consolation to you. And your story is getting translated into diverse languages and is now being spread to the world. So what do you say? I believe that this occasion means a lot to you. Yes, I think I can be here because of all the efforts made by the members of the National Assembly and the members of the committee and all the great people from diverse organizations and individuals. I think we can listen to all these good stories thanks to the immense efforts that was put. Thank you. Thank you for being courageous and standing up. And I think what you have just did made this event even more meaningful. And like I said, to enhance awareness about the Jeju April 3rd incident and to let the world know about this incident, a lot of efforts are being made. And I think Director G is one of them who is making this effort. And I also believe that from the culture and art scene, there are a lot of people working on this field as well. Director G, you said that you are working on a documentary about this incident, and what made you do so? And you said that you were filming, and what kind of sensation, or feeling did you have while filming the documentary? In its 70th anniversary of the incident, one of the dearest friends, who is, by the way, a soprano singer, told me that commemorating the 70th anniversary, she and her colleagues would gather some of her other colleagues and have a music performance. And the title of the concert was that the mainland remembers the sorrow of the islands. And recording the entire process of this concert upon the request of my friends, I got to know more about this Jeju April 3rd incident. And before trying to make this documentary, I just assumed that I know a lot about this Jeju April 3rd incident. I thought that this is such a famous history incident and I know about it, but actually after working to actually make this documentary, I could understand that I know nothing about this incident. So I just wanted to make sure that my own learning process is translated into a form of documentary to help others understand this incident as well. And there weren't a lot of platforms where like women or grandmothers can gather together to let their stories get heard. I don't think like opportunities were given proportionately to grandmothers, and that is partly the reason I wanted to meet Ms. He. And to you, I want to ask, we young generation is trying to make notes of this incident and record this incident. And how do you want this event to be remembered? For me, if you ask me, I want to make sure that this event doesn't repeat itself. I know that there are a lot of tough things outside, but I hope that we can make effort that this doesn't occur again. This should never repeat itself. I really hope that despite all the hard work it will take, younger generation can make efforts so that we do not see any other similar incident going forward. I cannot lay out all the difficult memories, so I would wrap up here. Because it is, painful for me to recall all this difficult memories, and also we have time running out, I guess. So I think that would be it from me. Thank you for sharing your stories. Not only our generation, but future generation as well. We and they have to know better about this history because we have to make sure that this history does not repeat itself. To confess, I didn't know this incident either, like several weeks before this event, and working and doing my homework to be here, I could learn several things about this incident, and I agree that this incident should be known. Yes, we should never forget history because we have to make sure this doesn't repeat. We have to remember history for future. And I want to ask a question to Director G. You said that you are in the process of making a documentary, and you said that you have learned that you didn't know a lot about Jeju. Then I would like to ask the same question to you. How do you want the Jeju incident to be remembered in the history? I'm in my learning curve, so I don't think I am the one who can say or answer this question. But the beautiful scenery, the best scenery I like about Jeju is the stone wall. It looks cool, but at the same time, it looks humble. But learning about Jeju April 3rd, I can see a lot more than just stone walls, because I now know that how these stones were used during the Jeju April 3rd. This developed a whole new perspective to me. Jeju is indeed a very beautiful island, but I think we have to broaden our horizon, and I think Jeju can definitely serve that role as well. Thank you. I think this is definitely something that we all have to think about. And since you came here, I think we got a lot of help. You conduct diverse interviews with so many people and you understand what they feel. And I think that's helped you to communicate better with the grandmother and Ms. Ha. Thank you. Then, how was it to be here? I sometimes regret a lot after finishing a documentary. I sometimes think that I should have started working on this like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. Because I can see that a lot of people have passed away. There are only a few remaining survivors. I do hope that Ms. Ho can continue to live a healthy life so that she can share her story. So stay healthy. That would be it from me. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
지금 막 촬영을 하다
And director G was filming, so she had to join us while she was filming, so she had to go back to her work. So as I do see, there are many comments that are given to us from those that are watching us via YouTube. Now we'll be listening to some young people. You've heard stories of the past. Now let's hear the stories of the present. And to make sure that past does not repeat itself, what should we do? So let's talk about that. So let's now invite the postman of the JDC Old Men's Library to help deliver the letters, the stories. And they have become entertainers about 18 years ago. And they are quite well-known vocalists. They have been loved for their music. So let's invite the group Sweet Sour. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So it's been 18 years since you became entertainers. Can you introduce yourselves, please? My name is In Ho-jin. My name is Kim Young-woo. And my name is Hong Woo-jin. And I remember back 18 years ago when I first met them. I think it was their very first concert that I served as the host. You are given the job of a postman or delivery persons of delivering letters and stories of the Jeju JDC's Old Men's Library. And as I was listening to different stories of the people who have suffered through Jeju April 3rd incident, I was able to learn quite a lot of things. And I think we should know things if we're going to be able to protect peace and coexistence. And will be performing songs so that even for just a short period of time, our song can console you. So you do have beautiful voices, and with your beautiful voices, you'll be reading letters, reading us the stories, and as well also telling us, and also singing for us. So which story are we going to be listening to first? And this is one of the stories. We actually brought two stories to share with you. And this is the first one. Hello, I'm a foreigner who's married, a Korean man. So I've been here for a long time, so I speak Korean well. I've gotten used to Korean lives quite well. But now I have some concerns because of education. I'm a European man, and our educational philosophies are so different. So I used to live in Europe, so I believe in independence of children learning on their own. So as you know, countries have different cultures, and since my children do have to live in Korea, so they do have to follow the rules of Korea or the cultural context of Korea. So nowadays, I'm not so sure. So this was a foreigner, not a lady, but a man from Europe who's married a Korean woman and have had children in Korea. And so this is a story very similar to that of Albert. Well, that's my story actually. So other people have not really sent in their stories. That is why my story has been selected. I was really surprised to hear this. So I was asked, to send in a letter, and so I did. Well, my second child is 21 months old. She's really cute. She's adorable. But I think it's all parents have to think about, how to best educate their children. And we are, international couple. And I mean, there are many here in Korea of international couples and also in other countries. And my biggest worry is this. My wife is like an Italian style. And she doesn't care, about studies. But I'm more of a Korean style. I believe when in Rome, follow the Roman rules. So I'm trying to follow this educational track here in Korea. So I kind of push my children. So my children receive piano, soccer, and swimming lessons. And I kind of think that he could take more lessons, but my wife doesn't agree. Anyway, I don't know how much I should interfere. How much how much I should intervene. I don't think it has to be multilateral families, because children, I mean, people have different opinions. Even if they come from. Because they come from different generations and different cultural backgrounds. So who do you think should give the advice? Well, it's my story, so I don't know who I should ask this question to. So how do you deal with this? As I was listening to Ha Sun-ja, I realized once again the importance of education. I mean, she learned, and so she was able to make things a little better for herself because she has been able to learn. And it seems that she was when she was really young, when the incident happened, but she was a very thoughtful person. And I do have a nephew and a niece who, I mean, they have, their own way of thinking. And so I think you should maybe talk to your children, before you decide, what to teach, what sort of education they should receive. So I think children know much more than we think. So in my case, I talk a lot to my children. And of course, the parents have to listen to the children, but there are times when parents have to make decisions. Because when I ask, my son tells me he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to learn, Korean character. So how far, should we intervene? Because I've never been educated in Korea, so I do not know about the pros and cons of the Korean educational systems. So maybe we should ask Ha-sun-ja, Ms. Ha-sun-ja. So what do you think? How do you think I should educate my children? I'm old, so I don't know about the new or modern educational methods. So if you sow the seeds, well, I mean, that's not the end of it. So if you have children, you have to look after children. You have to do things for children so that the children will go the right way. So if you're going to be raising crops, I mean, you do have to look after the crops quite well. And I think that the same thing. So if you do love your children and look after children, then your children will grow right. Yes, thank you. And the three of you here, and Mr. Kim Young-woo is married and have 2 children. I think that and wife and husband, they come from different families, so therefore different cultural backgrounds. And I was thinking, and the difference is kind of blessing, because children will be able to learn about diversity and can do, learn about the different things and be able to make the decisions. So I think, in a parents from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, could actually be a blessing. And I agree. So once you have, sown the seeds, you do have to, look after. So if you've had children, you have to set good examples. And if there are trees, you have to water it, and you do have to, look after it, for that tree to grow strong and tall. And I think the same story applies to children. And so I think that being different is a benefit. I never really thought about this before. Although I don't have children myself, but thinking back how I was trained and educated and looking at my nieces and nephews, I think I'm sure of one thing. And that is, there's something that all the parents should do. And that is to love the children and to have interest in the children and to have trust in the children. Of course, it's important that you send, your children to, good schools, provide them with the good lessons. But I think what's really important is that you love them and also be able to express that love. And if that love is expressed, I think that the children will become more secure, as a person. I think people may have, different ways of raising children, but I think if the love is at the is the basis, I think everyone will be able to raise their children properly. It always helps to listen to different opinions. And I suddenly miss my children. So when I get married, what was discussed here today is going to be quite helpful. Do you have a plan? I don't know. Not really. Not at this moment anyway. So maybe you could sing as a song. I think we all need love. So we have a song called Love You. So let us perform for you.
사랑의 박수 치고 스위스로의 사랑에 들려드리겠습니다. 감사합니다. 세상에서 가장 행복한 말, 그래서 더욱 듣고픈 말, 고마운 말, 날 살리는 말, 사랑해 그댈 정말. 쑥스러워 평생 못하는 말, 그래서 더 가고픈 말, 미안한 말, 말 눈물 나는 말 사랑해 그댈 사랑해 마음 울적인 날 땡겨서 땡겨 밀어봤지 그렇지만 나는 말야 내 진심은 같이 말야 너를 사랑해 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 나에겐 누구보다 소중한 사람 언제나 내 곁에 있어서 자꾸 잊고 살지만 사랑해 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 나 지금 눈물 나게 고마운 사람 언제나 그렇게 있어줘 그대 눈물에 깊은 내 마음을 알아줘 자 같이 손머리로 박수 어쩌겠어 나의 감추는 말 그래서 지금 열고픈 마음 든든한 마음 참 따뜻한 마음 사랑해 그대 사랑해 마음은 안 그런데 자꾸 툴툴거리고 짜증을 내지 그렇지만 나는 말야 내 진심은 말야 너를 사랑해 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 나에겐 누구보다 소중한 사람 언제나 내 곁에 있어서 자꾸 잊고 살지만 사랑해 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 나 지금 눈물 나게 고마운 사람 언제나 그렇게 있어줘 그대 눈물에 깊은 내 마음을 알아줘 이것저것 자주 않아도 별다른 이유 찾지 않아도 날 믿어줄 감춰줄 날 지켜줄 힘이 돼줄 나의 좋은 사람들 그댈 사랑해 사랑해 여러분 행복하세요 고맙습니다 너를 사랑해 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 이 세상 누구보다 소중한 사람 언제나 내 곁에 있어서 자꾸 믿고 살지만 사랑해 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 나 지금 눈물 나게 고마운 사람 언제나 그렇게 있어줘 그대 눈에 깊은 내 마음을 알아줘 나를 사랑해 감사합니다.
Oh, that really lightened up the stage here. That was just a beautiful performance. Loved it. And I hope that this helped with raising your children. And of course, love is the most important thing. But if you don't express it, I mean, people would not know that you love them. Do you say I love you a lot? Yes, I say that quite a lot. So let's move on to the second story. So let me read this out for you. Hello. I'm 34 years old. I'm studying to become a diplomat. I've always been a good student. However, I really did not do well when it came to college entrance. So I had to take the college entrance 4 times. And so when I got to the college after 4 trials, I always felt that I was behind others because I was much older. So study was all I could focus on. But there was a dream that I wanted to aspire to, and that is to become a diplomat. And so, although my parents were against it, but I am studying to become a diplomat. And it's been more than 4 years since I have been studying to become a diplomat here in Korea. I've always been a very good student. I've been focused on my studies. But why am I having these difficulties? Why am I not really making any progress in life? And I studied these studies to become a diplomat, because if I didn't do, I would regret later on. But I think that it has become something that is making me more feel difficult. And then my father's health deteriorated last year. Now I do part-time work in order to make money, so I wonder if I could continue to study.
Or do I have to compromise with the world, or should I just go ahead and try to graduate? I have so many thoughts right now. It's a tough story. We cannot just give an easy advice or casual advice. I think he is stuck between rock and the bottom. I relate to you. I feel for you. I just want to say, Alberto, what did you think? Honestly speaking, I don't think we have an answer. But I think basically it's gonna be you who has to make a decision. But I think I have just 3 things I want to say. 1, life is longer than you expect. When you feel you are in a rush, you feel like your life is short. And I think you feel like you are in a rush. And when we have this like concept that when you are studying for entrance exam, you have to go enter the college, and when you graduate, you have to get a job. We always feel hurt. But you said that you are currently 34, but if you think back, when you get older, you come to think that you were young when you were 34. The same applies to every lifespan and every time point in your life. And every person has their own pace and own path. I hope that you can just walk your path on your pace. And second, I think you have to make a decision. All the efforts and the investment of your time and the money, I think these are kind of like dragging you down maybe, when maybe you have to give up, maybe. You feel like you want to make the best of the efforts and the time and the money you have already spent. But life is a learning process and learning journey. So you say that even if you quit now, what you have like already did will not go waste, right? Yes, exactly. What will come ahead of you is important. That's what's important. And third, I don't know how this is called in Korean, but worlds are better to badly show you something. And there are a lot of barriers as you carry on in your life. And these barriers exist because through barrier, when faced with barrier, you realize how desperately you want to go over the barrier and attain your dream. And sometimes facing barriers, you realize that what you thought as a dream is not actually a dream. So that means hardships make people realize how desperate a person is about his or her own dream, right? Yes, exactly. I know that you have gone through a lot, but when you set your direction on one path, and if you feel like you still feel desperate to attain your dream, even faced with a barrier, then you go for it. You have to walk that path. Then what about you, Sweet Sorrows? Actually, I have a lot of people asking me, I want to raise my son as a singer, what should I do? And things like that. Just like Mr. Mondi said, I think we have to think about if we can go over the barrier when we face them. We cannot just say go for it, it's gonna go well, everything will be great. I think you have to motivate yourself and you have to be motivated enough to be able to get through all these obstacles. And as for the writer of this story, you do not have to be discouraged and think your life is a failure. This barrier makes you realize that you have worked hard, and this barrier makes you realize that you are desperate to achieve your dream. And I think life turns. You sometimes feel like you are at the rock bottom of your life, but once you pass this moment, once you get past and look back, you feel like, oh, that was nothing. So I hope that you can move your attention a little bit away from the moment that you are in right now and try to look a little bit further. And then you wouldn't necessarily be obsessed with the past deeds or the past investments that you already have made, and realize the path that you truly want to walk in. Okay, then Ms. Ho, as a old man's library, what advice do you have? And I know that the younger generation face a lot of difficulties. But once again, if you work hard, you can get by. Like I repeatedly say, I hope that you can carry on despite all the things that you face. Enduring the pain that come to you, carry on. You will get there. And I think your story motivated the writer of the story as well. Yes, the experience is learning and study. Experience a lot, and even when some of these experiences feels tough, just embrace it. It will help you get better. Thank you. I think you are the living witness to what you just said. When you withstand difficulties and tough and hardships, you become stronger. It is not that strong people can withstand hardships. And in this regard, we have Suisoro, who will sing one song for you. Yes, indeed. When we are on a bumpy road, we know that this will end someday, but it's tough when you're on the tough road, right? Bumpy road. And I think we can cheer only ourselves. Only we can cheer ourselves. We have to take good care of ourselves and try to cheer us up. And in that sense, we made a song. Think that it will just work out. This would be the rough translation of the title of the song. So let me just sing the song for you. Thank you. Please give the Sweet Sorrow a big hand.
그래 난 잘할 거라 생각해 다 잘될 거라 생각해 내 물음표를 느낌표로 멋지게 바꿀게 난 당당하게 살 테니까 한 걸음 더 갈 테니까 날 지켜봐줘 떠나는데 내일아 숨가쁜 오늘도 한참을 또 돌다 밤마음이 가득 차올라 한숨을 떨군다 바로 그때 갈 곳 없이 헤매던 내 눈길 멈춘 곳은 결국 여기네 발끝 나 걸어온 흔적 나름대로 괜찮은 선택을 해왔어 Yes, I made a 때론 넘어질 순 있어도 내 맘을 믿어 그래 그거잖아 난 잘할 거라 생각해 다 잘될 거라 생각해 세상이 던진 물음표에 당당히 맞설게 난 힘들어도 갈 테니까 한 걸음 더 갈 테니까 날 지켜봐도 더 나은 내일에서 안돼 전해서 못해 어쩌라고 나름대로 내 시대로 가는 거야
좋으면 따라와 오케이 그게 아니면 조용히
롯데 많은 선택들 중에 택하
내가 걸어갈 시간들 속에
그 한숨을 넘지 못해 괴로운 날도 많겠지 근데 말야 잘할 순 없는 거야 정답이 어디 있겠어 나답게 가보는 거야 난 잘할 거라 생각해 다 잘할 거라 생각해 내 물음표를 느낌표로 멋지게 바꿀게 난 당당하게 설 테니까 한 걸음 더 갈 테니까 날 지켜봐줘 더 나은 내일아
왜 못할 거라 생각해 왜 안 될 거라 생각해
세상이 던진 물음표에 지수는 없잖아 당당하게 갈 테니까 나를 믿고 갈 테니까 날 지켜봐줘 더 나은 내일아
Wow, this is empowering. I hope that the sender of this story felt empowered as well. And I think one song can cheer you up way more than like multiple meaningless advices. Yes, indeed, we are living at tough times, and I know that the youth is having a hard time. And that is why we hosted this event to listen to the past stories and to motivate our younger generation. And I hope that our intent and the message was delivered through to you. Thank you for being here. And you warmed the entire like hall up. I wish that I could sing like you. You are such a wonderful singer. I hope that our like audience on YouTube were enjoying the lovely performance of Sweet Zero as well. And we could learn a lot from this event. Thank you for inviting me. Where else can we learn about this Jeju April 3rd incident and listen to the personal stories of Ms. Ho? Thank you for inviting us. Actually, what we just did was to just basically deliver the message, but I really hope that we helped. As a singer, we are living in a tough time as well. You know, the entertainment industry is harsh. But at the moment, when we think maybe we have to quit, we come to think of the past deeds and the past history we have written, and we also get reminded of the past like hard work that we did and past experiences that we went through and so on and so forth. And actually we created this song for ourselves. So I hope that the message we wanted to deliver was actually delivered to you. But you feel the happiest when you sing, right? Yes, but when you feel difficult, when you are in a tough position, you just forget that what makes you happy, right? But sometimes I think you have to remind each other of the past achievements and the past memories and the past experiences we had. You said that you created a song for yourselves, and I think this sends us a very meaningful message. Cheering each other is one thing, but cheering ourselves is another. And I think if there are some people who feel like your life is really tough, I hope that listening to all the stories that you have shared, I hope that you can look back and think back, reflect on yourself, and try to know and understand that only you can cheer yourself up. Thank you. And also to Ms. Ho, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing your amazing life stories. And your story wants us to promote the idea and promote the understanding of Jeju April 3rd incident even more. Thank you for having me. The young generation is in a tough spot, but like I say, carry on. I hope young generation can continue to make efforts to get through. Thank you. I hope that this was a meaningful time for you too, Alberto. The purpose of the JDC Old Men's Library and the Jeju Forum is peace, right? And having this chance to listen to the accounts of Jeju April 3rd incident and listening to all these stories, and I think I had a very meaningful time. It's getting together and to be able to tell our stories to people who are listening is a very good opportunity. Stories should be read to be remembered, right? I hope that we can make similar meetings or similar occasions like these in the future as well in this regard. And I hope that the story is not just passed down to the history as an oral history, but kept as a record so that we can read this story on and on and on. Thank you for staying with us, and the Jeju Forum for Peace and Prosperity will come back next year as well. I'm already looking forward to it, and I ask for your continued support and attention. And also, for the young generation and Ms. Ho here, Sweet Sorrow will give us the last song that they have prepared. And the song is 아무리 생각해도 난 너를 in Korean. Thank you for staying with us once again. And this has been Alberto and Mina Swon. Thank you so much.
아무리 생각해도 난 너를 아무리 생각해도 난 너를 잊은 듯 눈 감아도 난 너를 아닌 듯 돌아서도 난 너를 조금만 솔직해도 난 너를 그렇게 아파하도록 너를 이렇게 바라보고 쓸쓸한 눈으로 다 웃고만 있었지. 생각해도 난 너를 매일 또 이별하도 난 너를 이미 넌 꿈이라도 난 너를 정말로 끝이라도 난 너를 한 번만 용기 나도 난 너를 그렇게 아파도록 너를 이렇게 눈물 짓도록 다시는 하나 참아 안을 수 없었지. 살아갈 것 같아. 내 작은 어깨 위로 난 너를 언제나 힘이 되도록 너를 따스한 햇살처럼 난 다시 또 다가가 감싸. 난 이대로 서서히면 이대로 눈물 지면 너를 더 사랑할 것 같아. 난 이대로 더
감사합니다.